guys, welcome. All right. So if you're watching this on YouTube, here's my announcement. My Christmas tree is gone. But we had to replace it with a plant and twinkle lights, incandescent twinkle lights, because you know how I feel about LEDs. And oh, it makes a difference, guys. Switch out all your lights if you can. Um, but we had to rearrange a lot of our furniture to fit the Christmas tree this year. And one of the things is we have this like soft-sided couch almost. It's memory foam. It's very college dorm. but my house is so small, like just regular furniture just doesn't kind of fit. And we found like the perfect spot for it. It's not our living room is so I mean, you could see most of it if you're watching this on YouTube. But our living room is very funky, and I have a workplace set up, right? And I just started switching my camera around because of the way the light's hitting the window. I was fighting the light behind me, so I was like, "We'll just make that put that light in front of you for better visuals." But we love where this couch is. It's in this perfect spot. It's kind of against my big desk and against the wall, and it it's become the spot. Maverick wants it, Pascal wants it, I want it. And so we're like, well, let's leave it this way, but we need something in that corner. So if you could see it, Maverick's huge dog bed is there. That's a love sack. We have one of those. If you've heard of love sack, they're like the 2 or 3 person beanbag chairs, and they're expensive, but they're worth it. They take up a lot of real estate, though. It was actually the hardest thing to get into my house when we moved. They're big, but we love it, and it's gotten so much use over the years. And then when Maverick was a puppy, he started sleeping in it, and it became his bed. So he's got this like super high end dog bed. But when he's not in it, we're in it. And so we replaced it with a big plant, and we're pretty happy with it. All right, so today I wanted to update you guys on kind of a follow-up to the episode I did about like your kids are getting enough nutrition, and I kind of broke down what I eat for hiking in the White Mountains. And my point, you can go back and listen to that episode. I forget which number it is, but it's, your kids don't worry about nutrition, because if you're eating enough, if you eat plain food, you don't have to have recipes, you don't have to focus on superfoods, you don't have to focus on this or that. You can eat just plain food, like a little bit of protein, a little bit of starch, a little bit of whatever on the side, fruit, fermented vegetables, whatever you want. But I think we're worrying too much about the nitty-gritty and not the bigger picture. I also really, really, really want to add this to the mix of nutrition in kids. I want you to worry less about nutrition and worry more about the vibe. And one of the things that I am really focused on now, as you know, is it keeps evolving, but not only how motherhood is so hard right now, but also falling in love with the tiny things in our lives, because I can't state this enough. Social media and too much information has created a life of longing in all of us. And we just always think something's better on the outside. Like somebody has more information, somebody has better information, somebody's got it better. And we're striving like for these things that have become cultural norm, right? And one of the things that has happened is I think we get so obsessed with like optimization. We get so obsessed with um I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because it snowed last night, and it's that gorgeous the kind of snow that, like, sticks to the branches, but a big wind came through, so it looks like a blizzard is outside. It looks like somebody snuck the show shook up the snow globe. Um, so, the vibe of dinner, we've lost ritual. We've lost, like, the absolute I've been talking about this, right? Like, making my kitchen whimsical, like, paying attention to the small details of loving our lives, because I think life is good right now for most of us. And yes, I understand the economy's a mess. And yes, there's struggle, but there's so much that we can find beautiful in the small moments. And I think meal times is one of these. And we worry so much about nutrition and picky eating and this, that, and the other thing. And the reality is I'd rather you focus on the vibe. Can you light candles? Can you put a beautiful tablecloth down? Can you, I don't know, use the good china, or I don't even know if people have china anymore. I might be dating myself, but making that like really soft music, or how could you make dinner more of a vibe as opposed to nutrition and one more bite and the struggle that it is for a lot of people. So just a thought. And part of that is plain food, like let go of spending time making extensive meals or, extensive recipes and just get food on the plate. And then like just that's all you really need, food on the plate and a cool vibe. All right, so in that episode, I had said how I have to add carbohydrates in. I typically do better on high meat and high fat and some fermented vegetables, maybe a little bit of fruit. And I went to higher carb, which means you have to kind of lower the fat, right? And one of the things when you are hiking, w- yesterday I went on a hike and it was 12 miles with elevation and the conditions. I burned 4,700 calories. That's a lot of calories. And so, also, what you are looking for, the White Mountains have the worst weather in the world, the fastest changing. So, you have to be prepared for catastrophic near death experiences. And you have to really be conscious of when shit starts to go sideways. And like all things, shit goes sideways usually as a compounding effect of little things, not just one big thing. But storms can roll in even though you check the weather and shit can go sideways really fast. And so what the search and rescue teams always tell everybody is you want to carry the food that you want to carry with you should be calorically dense and high sugar. You want high sugar on the mountain, particularly if shit goes sideways. You want to be able to eat a lot of sugar because that's going to give you a lot of calorie, a lot of energy to try to get through whatever catastrophic thing has happened. So we always carry a lot of sugar. I like maple syrup. I got my hiking buddy on maple syrup, and I carry some really high dense calories in the form of fat. But sugar is great on the mountain because also it's hard. These hikes are really hard and it's nice to have a little treat. And, in the summer, I can hike with, beef jerky, nuts, cheese, things like that. But in the winter, it's a drag. In the winter, it's so much harder. My pack is 20 pounds. You're with snowshoes and poles and lots of gear. I should weigh myself with like all my gear on, heavy winter boots that are insulated. And so it's just harder. And so the one time I was like, "Oh, I wanna see if I can do this without sugar," and I knew I wasn't endangering myself or anything, but I was sad because I wanted a treat. I wanted a snacky snack at the summit. I wanted snacks for doing hard things. Yeah, and I know, grow up, but I'm not gonna. So I bring, peanut M&Ms. Peanut M&Ms, all with all the dyes, with all the 78 ingredients, and I love them. And I eat them on the mountain, and then, of course, leading up to Mountain Day, I, would have a few here and there, and I just love them. I have gotten to the point where I can have sugar without binging, and I can have 5 M&Ms after dinner, and so, anyway, M&Ms were sneaking back into my life, and so, and then I wanna eat a lot the day of, and when you're hiking, the bummer is, like, you really need to take in 200 calories per hour. Anything over 4 hours is considered endurance, and if you're doing something that requires endurance, you wanna actually, right from the get-go, try to pace yourself at 200 calories per hour because that's pretty much all the body can really utilize at any given time, and you need to keep up on it because if you forget, you will fall behind, and the big thing in the winter with hiking, hypothermia starts because you're cold and or wet. But what tips you over into death is that you don't have enough fuel to keep your organs running, to keep your body heat, your core temperature up. And so that is the reason you want to fuel appropriately. And I have tried doing it like the very methodical way, like a timer where every hour I eat 200 calories and it gets hard. It gets hard after 4 hours. And some of these hikes are 9 or 10 hours. You want things that taste good and are just kinda easy to get down, and sugar clearly is in that category. So, maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks now, I woke up one probably after a hike, and when I tell you guys I aged overnight, and generally speaking, I'm not a vain person, I personally am committed to aging without any assistance, like, fillers or, I don't dye my hair, and I'm not on any moral high horse, like, you age the way you wanna age, but I feel committed to showing what aging looks like in a person who takes care of themselves, works out, eats well, but that has natural aging. And like I can see sometimes in my Instagram reels, like my eyelids are starting to droop. I can see my face, I can see the effects of an older body. And I know I generally have good skin. I take care of myself, but I woke up and I had aged overnight. Like my face looked kind of gray and sallow, and my skin, I looked like had done a 3-day bender. My skin was like the shape of my pillow, like it was all smushed up like the shape of my pillow, and it wasn't coming back. It wasn't bouncing back, and I was like noticeable dragging and like sagging of my skin, and I was like, "Whoa, what happened?" And I'm not gonna lie, I was horrified. I was like, "Oh my god, did this just, like, stack up behind me and, like, one day just happened?" And so, I was kind of freaking out. So, I was doing all the things, and it 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 was enough. I don't think I'm a vain person, but vanity kicked in. And again, I don't mind if my skin looks like this at 70. Totally. 57, no, thank you. So and what I think what happened was it was so sudden. So anyway, I was just like, kinda like, "Oh my god," I didn't even wanna film content, and I did. I did because that's part of the deal, right? And, I said to Pascal, I said, "Look, I just can't get over my skin," and I started using some castor oil, which really helped. Castor oil is very thick, and if you have sensitive skin, it might be too thick, but it that really helped. And I said to Pascal, I wonder if it's because of these like harsh conditions, like I'm in the wind, and once you're over tree line, it's often blizzardy and it's just cold, in New England. And he looked at me in the way that only a kid can, just deadpan. And he said, or maybe it's the pound of M&Ms you're slamming every week. And I was like, shit, maybe he's right. So I was like, you are right. And I did notice I just don't do well on carbohydrates, like very starchy food, particularly like flour-based things. And I know it's the US flour. I know I did fine in Italy. I've done fine when I've traveled to other countries. I know it's the US wheat. But those really, really they hurt my joints. I get bags under my eyes. I just don't feel myself. I don't feel energetic mostly. So I kind of had figured that out, and I was kind of sticking to just whole food carbs, but I do better on a lower carb diet. That's just how I function best, and I eat fruit and fermented vegetables, but that's about it. And maybe some winter squash. And so I said, that's it. I'm going back to meat and fat. Um, w and then the day before hiking and the day of, I'll allow myself sugar, I'll allow myself whatever carbohydrates. I don't believe in cheat meals. I don't like that term. I don't if your diet is so crazy that you need a day to go all whole hog, I don't think that's good. But mountain days are anything goes. Like, if I could bring a whole pizza up, I would. And um so I said, let me just go back to meat and fat and see how I do. And then the night before the hike and the day of, just anything goes. And that's been working really well for me. But what happened was almost instantly, my skin improved almost instantly. And I will maintain till the day I die that higher fat is what women need. And I'm here because I did not know vanity would be the thing to flip me. I really didn't. Like, you know how conscious I am, right, of food. And it turns out that this, like, literal aging overnight is the thing that flipped me. Uh, and so I did go back, and like I said, instantly my face felt better, but more importantly, I was shocked at how, for me, allowing, getting more calories from carbohydrates, which I had explained in that episode. If you're going to add higher carbohydrates, carbohydrate diets, and when I say diet, I don't mean restriction, I mean a way of eating. If you want to eat with higher carbohydrates, you naturally have to lower the fat, because that's the magical combination, right? That's the delicious things. That's mac and cheese, pizza, ice cream, french fries, potato chips, like any really yummy thing you can think of is high carb, high fat. And that's what wreaks havoc on your metabolic health, which then in turn wreaks havoc on your skin, your weight, your everything, right? And your energy. That's the biggest thing. I don't think it's if you wanna care about your I think weight is a stupid metric, but if you are concerned about aesthetics, I think that's okay. You can be concerned about aesthetics. But for me, aesthetics are a nice part of it, but for me, it's energy. I just love the energy I have, and I often hear people my own age who are like, "Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm, sore." So I wanna just feel really good. And when I switched one day, in just one day, I switched to just meat, fat, and like I said, little fruit, little fermented vegetables. Instantly just felt better. Higher energy, and I can't really describe it, but more alive, more present. I feel like and we know this, carbohydrates, especially starchy baked goods, things like that, they do have a numbing effect. And so in this day and age where the world is a dumpster fire, everything there's so much anxiety, like, I can see why it would almost feel good to not be so present, right? Like, using carbohydrates almost as a drug, I can see that. But and again, if you have a high carbohydrate diet and you keep especially the fat down, maybe you're not experiencing this. It's totally possible. For me, that isn't the case, and I bring it up to you because I always say, like, "Hey, if it's happening for me, it's gotta be happening for somebody." So, I'm not looking for a food fight here. I'm just looking to show you my experience in case it's yours. But feeling really present, feeling really alive, really happy in spite of all the shit that's swirling around us, happy even though I'm still crunched for time, happy even though, by all accounts, we shouldn't be happy right now, right? So, anyway, I just wanted to share that with you in case it's your experience or in case you are struggling with something like that. Or in case you're struggling with aging skin. I cannot reiterate this. Sugar ages you. We know it. There is something it literally is the acronym is AGE, which is advanced glycation end products, and sugar contributes to that. And it kind of wreaks havoc on your mitochondria, and it really does age you faster. And it may not be aging you faster now, but when you get to a certain age, it could be overnight. I was shocked because it wasn't that long that I was eating a lot of M&Ms. It wasn't that crazy. I wasn't eating a ton of them all the time, but it definitely aged me almost overnight. So, just if you don't wanna age overnight with your skin all smushed up in the shape of your pillow and it not bouncing back, I highly suggest you look at that. There is a saying I've heard, anything you do before the age of 30 is correctable. Like, you can and I'm a witness. I've been very honest. I did a lots of cocaine in my youth. I drank heavily. I ran myself ragged. I've been heavy. I've been too low in weight. I mean, I've wreaked some havoc on my body, but I was able to recover it, right? And I have no long-term damage. But after 30, you have to really start paying attention. And it's one of those things that I've noticed as I age is like, when you were in high school, yeah, before prom, what'd you do? You just maybe didn't eat for a day and you were fine. You lost 10 pounds, and everything it just compounds. Everything's just a little harder when you're older. And, you know, one day of partying, you just look I've seen it in my friends, like, one day of over drinking and it's fun, but then they're wrecked for 2 days. Their sleep's a mess, their face doesn't bounce back, their energy doesn't bounce back, so it's just something to keep in mind. I know you guys are much younger than me, but it's definitely something to keep in mind because I'm totally even with the new class I'm teaching on strength and mobility, we wanna start these habits in our 30s because everything goes to hell. It goes to hell way faster th not faster, way sooner. The building blocks of falling apart are being built, and the blocks of health are falling down, and so you wanna start any of this, like, really focusing on this in your 30s so that you have good habits, you have a routine. Again, in my strength and mobility class, that's what I'm stressing is, like, it's not about a new summer body, it's not about a new year, new you, it's not about that, it's about creating habits in your 30s, so when you get to my age, they're already established and it's not brand new, and you don't slam into that brick wall of menopause that I see so many women running into, and God, the one consistent thing I've talked about this in so many episodes, I had effortless menopause, and I couldn't everybody around me was having such a hard time. I felt like, "Oh my god, I'm just an outlier," and I really actively looked for women who were not having that experience, and it really comes down to they have consistently been strength training since their 30s, consistently paying attention to good solid nutrition since their 30s, and eating enough fat. And that is where I see so many women and skinny talk and Instagram. There's so many people talking about, cut down your fat. And I'm telling you right now, it's not the way. It's not the way. Eating enough fat, which would be ideal, is like 35% of your calories if you're like tracking nutrients and calories and nutrition and your macros and that kind of thing, which if you don't know, I'm also doing that in my strength and mobility class. So anyway, that was my diatribe. I mean, I think I just saw a headline, Bloomberg Press did a headline to the effect of why you should go against the MAHA movement and the tr the new natural food fad trend. So number 1, like, I know MAHA is Make America Healthy Again, and I'm on board, and I know it gets associated with the far right, which I can't believe we've politicized food and working out, but there you have it. But also the idea that natural food, like whole foods, is a fad to be avoided. And that's where we are in our society. That is insane to me. And I know like, dude, I was eating peanut M&Ms. I'm not above the fray. I'm not trying to claim I'm any, superior person, but I know it's not great for me, right? I like a Coke Zero every once in a while. I know that's not great for me. I'm not out here being like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. Like, and then we're all metabolically sick. So, anyway, it's an uphill battle, y'all, but we can do it. So, I thought you guys would just find that interesting. And like I said, if it's happening to me, I'm sure it's happening to somebody else out here. so, and yeah, I think that's all I got for today. So, as always, put your phone down, rock on, have an awesome day. I appreciate you.